what the heck was that? Just what would cause that kind of a noise? It would rattle a pretty good sized house.
That was Richard D. Young, a Gatesville man who spoke with us on the phone earlier this afternoon, moments after he heard an explosion. He, of course, describing that construction site after it exploded at Coryell Memorial Hospital. Now, this incident happened at around 3 this afternoon in Gatesville. One person tonight is dead. Several others are injured.
Fox 44's Maribel Santiago was on scene earlier today. She has been throughout the night and joins us now live from Coryell Memorial Hospital with a breakdown of the blast.
Well, guys, it's certainly been a long day for first responders and law enforcement that, in fact, came across the state to come in and assist at the scene. Now, I'm going to step back here. The scene is still active. It's a little less active than earlier today, but we do see a couple of lights working. Some people are investigating. Now, officials say those injured were all construction workers, and they say it was a catastrophe that they weren't expecting. At around 2 this afternoon, several agencies responded to an explosion at the Coryell Memorial Hospital.
Law enforcement, we're talking about fire, we're talking about ambulance. They came from throughout the region, not just the local hard-working folks we have here that save our lives day in and day out.
More than 150 people were evacuated. One person is dead and 12 others were sent to area hospitals for their injuries, some to the burn unit at Parkland in Dallas.
I can look at the Meadows, our 90-bed nursing home. I see some damage to it. I see some damage in other parts of the building that appear related to a shock wave to me that occurred when the blast occurred. I can see some damage across the street and some of our ancillary services that are over there.
They say it happened at a major construction project on site. Preliminary reports say it was a gas leak from a boiler causing the deadly blast.
After I've seen the damage, I would tell you that it's certainly catastrophic what occurred. I think we're very fortunate and blessed that there were no more injuries than there were.
While no patients or hospital employees were injured, the facility is slated to be closed until further notice. Now, during that press conference, patients who were already at the hospital were actually relocated to hospitals such as Clifton and other area hospitals in this region. The officials do say there is no threat to the public as they're investigating this as an accident at this time.
All right, thank you, Maribel Santiago, live at the hospital tonight. This is clearly a situation where a lot of people wanting to stay on top of and get the very latest details. We also did want to look into just how the Gatesville explosion measured up to other large-scale crises in Central Texas.
That's right. Right now, we know that there have been, you'll remember most recently in 2015, the Twin Peaks shooting that happened in Waco. It sent dozens of people to the hospital. You'll remember 9 people died. Now, the year before, in 2014, a shooting on Fort Hood left 4 people dead, including the gunman. April of 2013, the West Fertilizer explosion killed more than a dozen people. Hundreds more were injured. In 2009, the first Fort Hood shooting left 30 injured, 13 people shot and killed. And of course, again, today's blast in Gatesville that so far has left 1 person dead, 12 others injured. So, Robert, just an example of just how well equipped our area first responders are to respond to crisis situations like these.
Yeah, acting very fast throughout, not only in Central Texas, but all throughout the state. As Maribel touched on a minute ago, the explosion bringing first responders from all across Texas right to Gatesville. We understand there was also a state request to help with a crisis response. That's
right. We know that crews from North Texas, specifically Flower Mound, on scene with ambulance buses. There were also fire crews from Austin. They sent in structural collapse technicians to kind of assess the building after the damage. Fort Hood also sending paramedics and Belton police on scene. That's where this photo is coming from. Belton Police Sergeant Glenn Bennett responded to Gatesville as part of a National Guard unit. You can see the explosion here, just catastrophic, and really, look, you can see all those bricks, Robert, just as a testimony of how large this blast was. They posted these on their Facebook picture, or on their Facebook page. They also say they're sending prayers, again, that coming from Belton Police.
Yeah, and to that point, just how violent that blast was as well. Something that didn't last very long, but really had a lot of impact throughout. Now, 9 of the 12 injured workers, here's a quick update on them. They are now being treated at Temple's Baylor Scott and White Hospital tonight. Continuing our team coverage, Fox 44's Kayla Kelly was in Temple and has an update on their conditions.
The Baylor Scott and White Hospital in Temple took in 9 patients. 7 of them are in critical condition. One of the victims was airlifted to the hospital. The other 8 were transported by ambulance. Many came in with 2nd and 3rd degree burns and damaged airways.
The majority of the victims had burn of essentially the entire face, ears, nose, mouth area. Many of them had complete burns of their entire hands, both on the front and the back.
Hospital officials say they've managed to stabilize many of the patients. Doctors say the majority of the patients will be transported to facilities in Austin and San Antonio for further treatment. Temple's Baylor Scott & White Hospital wasn't the only place to take in patients. The company's Hillcrest location is also seeing 4 patients, most of whom suffered minor injuries. Reporting in Bell County, Kayla Kelly, Fox 44 News.
Thank you, Kayla. And coming up at 9:30, doctors in Temple talk about how they've been trained to handle intense crisis situations like these.
Now, 2 of the construction workers that were injured in the explosion today were taken to the Parkland Burn Unit over in Dallas. That's where severely injured burn patients go when they need to seek treatment. Now, this happening after another Central Texas man is in the same hospital now, recovering from a blast that happened last Friday, if you recall this story. That now makes 3 Central Texas victims in 5 days with severe burns. Grant Getman is a subcontractor for R&R Construction in Waco. He and a co-worker, they were rebuffing a wooden floor with lacquer that sparked an explosion in the home you just saw on your screen there that they were working in. Getman now said to have severe burns to at least half of his body.
Now, we of course wanted to know why these victims are being sent to Dallas, and it's the Parkland Burn Center near downtown. They are the only verified burn center in North Texas. It has 12 ICU beds, 18 acute beds, and they can meet a high number of burn admissions, and every patient room has enough space for families to stay during the recovery. Of course, something that is essential in crises like these. Robert, in Gatesville, Coriel's Community Church stepping up to also lend a helping hand following this explosion. Now, that church served as a sanctuary for the elderly from 2 nearby nursing homes that were actually on the hospital property. Both Meadows Nursing Home and the Oaks at Coriel were evacuated. Yeah, something that was really needed while all the crisis was going on and so much trauma happening, not only mentally but physically as well. Caregivers say that their top priority was to get patients into the air-conditioned environment. We heard about those heat and the temperatures that Mike talked about at the top of the show. Tonight, Fox 44's Christina Bauer went to that church to explain just what the atmosphere was like.
The setup at Coriel Community Church is part of the hospital's emergency plan. However, the church members and dozens of volunteers say this was not a job, but a calling. When Coriel Community Church member Charlie Herring heard about the explosion, he jumped into action.
We spent a long time just helping patients out of the van and into the sanctuary. From that, we helped move water, we moved coolers, ice bags, bedding.
He says the community's willingness to help was overwhelming.
It was funny, the chaos stemmed from so many people wanting to help and so many people wanting to do good. And very, very quickly from that, it turned into a situation with everyone got in control.
Pastor Daniel Crowther heard the explosion.
It was just a loud boom, and the building just sort of shook. And I remember the pictures on my wall were rattled.
Crowther believes it's his Christian duty to step up in situations like this. His members temporarily took care of the elderly from the nursing homes before they were picked up by family.
Jesus said his kingdom would come, his will would be done on earth as it is in heaven. Well, we want that to be done here in Gatesville.
The elderly from 2 nursing homes were taken to nearby nursing homes, while others were picked up by their families. We are still waiting to hear when it will be safe for them to return. Reporting in Gatesville, Christina Bauer, Fox 44 News.
All right, thank you, Christina. Coming up, meanwhile, tonight at 9:30, we'll take a closer look at the church's role in the hospital's emergency plan. Now, this is clearly an ongoing situation. Fox 44 will continue to update you as the development continues to make its way through. You want to find the latest updates, you can go to our website, centexproud.com, or you can always watch our nightly newscast, not only tonight, but tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week at 5:30 and 9.
That's right. And of course, you can also download our Fox 44 app. We will be sending push alerts to any breaking news stories and, of course, any breaking news updates as they become available from the situation in Gatesville. Well, coming up